12 years in that division and they're out.
Right boys, welcome back to SEADOGS Can Fly. This is episode 23, season 5, and last year we gained promotion to League 1. We also won the FA trophy. Plymouth had a good valiant effort in the league against us, but they couldn't close that 15-point gap. Us scoring 135 goals, a mammoth tally to reach, but we also defended quite well, only conceding 34. The 4-2-4 was working very nicely indeed. Going into the new season, what do the board expect? Well, they want us to get the playoffs. They also want us to reach the 4th round of the FA Cup and the 3rd round of the League Cup. That's going to be a tough ask because I want to keep developing these young players that we've got. The class of 2020, we're never going to get them to the top flight unless I can give them game time. That's going to happen in the Cup more often than not this season because the standard of football has really jumped up with us being in League 1. So we'll have to see what happens there. But hopefully we won't piss the board off too much. But the league is what it's all about, and the media seem to think we can get promoted. They've got us down as second favourites behind Derby, who are 3-5, we're evens, then Portsmouth are 2-1, the rest are trailing behind. But Rotherham and Preston will be good teams, as will Luton. I like Wigan and Peterborough, and actually a team that's quite underrated based on the start they've had is Crewe at 75-1. They're actually second, believe it or not. We have 3 players in the media 11, which is good to see. Williams, Hulme and Wardle, all well deserved to be in there. But Derby County have got one hell of a squad. Mind you, they've just sold one of their best prospects and a player I was trying to sign. Phil Howard, gone for £9.5 million potentially to Everton. They've got Hurst. Remember they signed Hurst from us just a couple of seasons ago. So they could have a potentially fantastic back line in 3 or 4 years' time. But what have we done in the transfer market? Let's take a quick look. Quite a few ins and outs. We'll begin with the outs. Danny Ryan has left for Leeds United. I had an offer of £1 million and I couldn't turn it down. He plays AMC. He can also play AMC, but that's only because I've trained him to do so. He's not naturally in that position, and I've got other players that I do want to develop that are younger and have potential to be better, I would say. And a 6-figure fee just seemed too good to turn down at this stage. Lucero's left because he's right-footed, he plays on the right wing, and we need an inverted winger, not a winger. So Lacour has been preferred, therefore Lucero has left for 375k. No other real notable sales other than Matthias Fonseca. He is a club legend, so I'm devastated to see him go. As you can see here, 3 seasons with Scarborough Athletic, and he scored a boatload of goals. Really good performances he put in. Last season wasn't relied on as much, so that was probably one of the reasons I was okay letting him go. Williams really did step up last season. But yeah, let's jump onto the ins, shall we? We'll begin with the 23k signing of Lucas Bergstrom. He was signed from Chelsea, plays in goals, a mammoth keeper, standing at 6'6" tall. A few concerning areas in there. His performances haven't been fantastic since signing him. The first choice goalkeeper is going to be Lejeune. He was signed from Nantes on a free transfer, and I think he's an amazing signing. Really good all-round keeper, 6'6" again, so another giant, and he's got loads of potential, so quite excited about him. The big signing though is Lucas Belloni. We've been looking for that towering centre-back, a real physical presence ever since we lost Hurst. Well, I think we found him in Delaney. He's maybe not a man mountain, he's only got 15 jumping reach, he is only 6'1", but he's got speed, really good all-round physicals with balance. His bravery, determination, teamwork and work rate are really good, something I'm very keen on, and his technique is good. That means his overall technicals could go up quite quick, and also the fact that he may be able to carry the ball and pass it as well, which is something that we're looking for going forward. 6 appearances so far, 2 goals and an assist, 7.7 average rating. He's looking very promising indeed. Now on to the free transfers. The first big one is called Louis Barry. This guy was signed from Aston Villa, but you may recognise the name because he starts the game at Barcelona. They signed him for 215k from West Brom, a real prospect during 2019. Never managed an appearance. Aston Villa then left him to rot as well after signing him for 900k. So we are able to pick him up on a free, and we're not even paying him that much. 1.7k seems decent value to me for his quality. Some of his attributes have gone up quite a bit already, so I'm quite excited about him. He is fairly determined, so not a terrible personality. His decisions need to go up, in all honesty, and his consistency needs to improve as well. Both minor weaknesses in his game, but I think if we can just develop him that little bit more, a bit more speed and a few of those mental areas, he could be a great player. He can also play the false 9 role, as you can see by his attribute mix, so it's just the vision that puts me off a little bit, putting him into that role. But he will work well in place of Fonseca. I think he's a better all-round player for the long term. All the other signings we've made are just youngsters. Eric Strain, he's come in for nothing, so I thought we may as well give it a go. Doesn't fit into the system, but I thought we'll bring him in, see how his attributes develop. You never know, he could do some form of role or go off for a profit. Veseli, he's fast, so fits in nicely with what we're trying to do for players in behind, but he is lacking in some key areas, so we'll just have to see how he develops. Again, he didn't cost us anything. He's only on a small wage, 120 quid a week, and he hasn't got as much potential as I thought he might have, but he's a low risk signing. Hansen has really good potential, not a good personality. It is balanced, but in reality I've not seen him do an awful lot yet in training considering his age, but we sent him out on loan anyway. He's a left back, didn't cost us now, no risk involved. And the last one is Philip Tezar, again another one with poor physicals, but we can develop that, and I feel like this kid has quite a bit of potential. I don't always go off the star ratings because they're not always accurate. We haven't got a good enough backroom staff to get accurate ratings yet. And yes, he doesn't fit into the system because he is an AMC. However, we can retrain him at central midfield as an advanced playmaker because that is his preferred role. So quite excited to see what he may be able to do in the future. He's only 16, so he's going to be in the youth teams to begin with. Now let's look at the squad really quickly, because I'm quite excited about the changes I'm trying to make within the team. We've had to make some real mammoth changes on the left wing because we've lost Dacuna, who was on loan. He played really well. We had him from Monaco. Thought I was going to get him on a free transfer, but Torino pipped us to the sale. That means Ryan Williams is going to have to change the way he plays. He's been the advanced forward for the last 3 years. He's played exceptionally well, scoring 32, 29 and 19, even scoring 4 in his first part season for us. He's a massive player for the club, signed from Wales, and he's having to play on the left wing now as a winger on a support duty, so you would think that's a waste of his talent. But it's not. He scored 7 goals in 5 starts with almost an 8 average rating. He keeps arriving late onto the end of balls and scoring with his head. What we're finding is that the inverted winger and the winger are forming a front 4 as part of my 4-2-4, the concerto tactic, and he is getting on the end of a lot of balls. You'll see that through the highlights. So yeah, he's worked pretty well. I'm really, really pleased with that. Lacourt is still the main man on the right wing. He's improved even more, as if that was even possible. I thought he'd maxed out his potential. Apparently not. He's still improving. So I think he may be able to do a job for us in League One. Rob Gale and Salmon are now my first choice players at central midfield. Rob Gale is the advanced playmaker because I want to develop him to be able to play within that role. He has got a decent attribute mix for it. And Salmon has just been amazing as the box-to-box midfielder. His game's come along really well. His physicals are coming along great. Mentals, he's got good work rate, good teamwork, composure, and he's got good technique, which means his overall technicals will go up. He's had an 8.06 average rate, and I reckon his work rate is massively to do with that. He appears everywhere on the pitch, so he's been a fantastic option for us. Up top, I'm going with Jabels as the main advanced forward. Very concerned about a dip in some of his attributes. That is a massive concern for me. We're going to have to see what happens with him in all fairness. He's on a big wage, and to be honest, at the moment he's not cutting the mustard. He scored 7 goals, but 3 came in 1 game, and he's not been clinical enough for me. We'll see what happens with him. Saltella's going to be the main man as our false 9. He scored a goal, got an assist. He's played really well so far. You'll see in some of the highlights in a little bit just what I mean. But I'm quite excited about this kid. He's developing well. He's got massive amounts of potential. And we're already starting to see that in his training performances. Gary Bowden's going to be the second choice false 9. He's got a really good all-round game, good technical ability, so he can definitely develop those overall technicals. Not performed so well overall, but again, he's only been a bit part player, so I guess we can't blame that on him. Jonathan Warburton's coming back in as the first choice left back. His development's been really good in the last year. Very happy with that, because I was disappointed that his determination was hindering things, but that's gone up about 4-5 points, I think, over the last couple of years. So if you can just get it above 10, then we may get to see even further develop from the 21-year-old. Loshy's going to be the main man at right back. Just a good all-round player. He's lacking physically in his quickness, but he does perform very well. He's already scored one corker of a volley for us. As for the second choice wing back options, we've got loads. We've got Zabe. He's developing very nicely, and I've got him because he's a model citizen. Really great personality, the best of the best to have. So I want to keep developing this kid. He's only 17. He's got good potential. I think this guy could be, dare I say it, Premier League quality, possibly. Actually, what do my coaches think? Yeah, they just say it could improve a lot, so it doesn't give you an indication of how far he could go, and he is lacking in consistency. That may be an issue long term. John Bowman's the other option we have at right back, the Australian. I'm playing him in the reserves at the moment. He may get a bit of game time, but we'll have to see on that. And then the left back, Celia, is remaining at the club. Not been impressed with him this year. He's not really developed an awful lot. His crossing's gone up a bit, but we're going to have to see what we do with him. I think we're going to have to replace him very shortly. And then at centre-back, Delaney I've already seen. He's the main man. Wardle backs him up as well. Really good jumping reach. He is Premier League class to me. I think he will be. He's only 20. Still got bags of potential. He's fairly professional, so he should keep developing. And he's just got a good, rounded base to build on as a Premier League class player. Right, guys, that was a real long freaking update, but you've seen the main players. We'll look at more as we go along. Let's jump in and have a really quick look at the schedule. Just get you caught up with some of the games that we've played so far. Playing Gillingham, we won 3-2 away from home. We actually came back from being 2-0 down there, so this was a fantastic result. We also beat Mansfield 3-1. Ryan Williams scored in both those games with goals that you will have seen coming late onto the head. Rochdale were dispatched 3-0. Louis Barry scored in the 94th minute there with quite a nice goal. That sent us through to the next round of the EFL Cup. We then came up against Peterborough, and I noticed in my team report that they were going to play 2 DMCs with some attacking wide players and 1 striker. And as you know, the 2 DMCs is an issue for the 4-2-4. We've said it before, I'll say it again. Always switch to the Atlanta system when you come up against that type of tactic. We did that, and it worked a charm. We won 5-0. Jabel's got a hat-trick and actually performed much better in this system than he has done in the 4-2-4. So there's maybe something to think about there long term as well. You'll have seen there Gut getting his first assist, and Paul Bell with a fantastic free kick. Next up, we're against Lincoln City, and this game was notable because Patrick Gut got his first 2 goals for the club. Really lovely volley off the bench for the first and a penalty for the second. Ryan Williams getting on the end again of a cross to score in that game. The guy's an absolute man mountain. Coming up against Fleetwood, we won that one 4-1. And Sal Teller came off the bench to assist from the false 9 position before he then got moved into the MC role as a box-to-box midfielder because of a red card, and he scored an absolute peach from that position on the edge of the area. Again, Williams getting on the score sheet. He has been instrumental from that left wing. We beat Burton Albion 2-1 away from home. Quite a lucky performance really, but at least we progress through to the next round. Burton Albion again in the league, 5-0 though we won this one. This was very convincing indeed, very happy with that. And then we came up against Port Vale in the EFL Trophy. We thrashed them 6-0 and Paul Bell scored this brilliant goal to kick things off. No one closed him down, he just kept going and then launched one into the top corner. That brings us to the live-com games for today. We're playing against Rotherham, and we've also got Crewe. It's going to be a long episode. Buckle yourselves in. Rotherham are definitely a threat. They're in 7th place, but Crewe, surprisingly, are 2nd. Level on points with us. We've got a game in hand. And then we've got Preston coming up in a couple of games' time. We've got Wimbledon coming up. And I believe we've also got Shrewsbury coming up as well. So loads of really tough fixtures for me. It's going to be make or break. We've won every game so far. Goal difference is 19, so that's looking really promising indeed. And this is going to be a difficult game against Rotherham. Do not doubt that, because they're going to play with one DMC, possibly even two, but we're going to stick with our main team. The reason that I'm going to go with this and not maybe the Atlanta tactic is because I'm not quite certain they are going to go with two DMCs, and if they do only go with the one DMC, they'll have two wingers there. Right, okay, well, that's frustrating, but they have gone for two DMCs, however, they don't have an AMR and an AML. Generally speaking, with how deep they're going to be playing, we should still be okay with the 4-2-4. Probably will end up chewing my words there, but let's just hope I'm right. First highlight of the game, as Warburton is here with the long throw. We've done well from these so far this season. Gale picks up the loose ball, and a great finish from the advanced playmaker. Second goal of the season, bottom corner, 9 minutes in, and we are ahead. Good start to the game so far. Rotherham have been limited to no shots on goal, although that may change. Decent effort from Lewis. We were looking at signing Lewis, actually, from Liverpool, the winger, but ended up not doing so because of the wages he commanded. And to be honest, they look like Rotherham fans to me, so I'm not quite sure if maybe it's us that are lacking in support. We are expanding the stadium, so we may well have a lesser capacity than what we should do, maybe. Right, well, we've gone into the half-time team talk with not an awful lot happening, to be fair there, guys, so probably good for the length of the video, not so good for the watching, but Rotherham have had literally one shot on target. They've limited our chances. We've not had a clear-cut effort yet, and we've had 62% possession. We're already to the 61st minute, not a highlight in sight. I think we'll tell the lads to get creative. Give them a couple of minutes, and then I'm going to make a change. We're going to bring on someone in the advanced forward role, and possibly out wide as well, I think. Might have a chance here, though. Sam in the box-to-box midfielder. Out wide to Warburton. Crosses it in. Lacour's on the end, and he... Is that allowed? It is, but it's been deemed an own goal by Darnay. Well, I ain't bothered. Lacour has scored with his head a number of times over the last 3 years for us. Great to see him still capable of doing that, even at this level. Remember when we first bought him? That was back in the dizzy days of, National League? So he's done so well to develop as he has done. Now, a player I've not shown you properly yet is Patrick Gut. I'll show him quickly now. 18 years old. We've had him for a year now, and he's developing really, really well. His physicals need a lot of improvement. I'm going to have him probably as an MC. That's where I see his future, unless we adjust the system to have wingers. I'm developing his quickness just in case I do switch the sides over and have the winger on the right side, but he could be a great player. He scored 2, got 2 assists, and at that age, I think he's going to be a really exciting player. On that note, let's get him on the pitch. Let's see what this kid's made of. We do have a game to be wary of, but we've got quite a few days before we get to that. 23 shots, 12 on target, no clear-cut chances, boring game. But when you come up against that sort of system where there's one player in your half of the pitch on the tactic screen, to come away with a victory is okay, in all honesty. I'm not even going to tell them that was a let-off because they were camped out in their own half. Right, guys, we're going to come straight back with the Crew game. It's away from home. They're second. We're first. This is going to be really big for how the season may pan out. Right, boys, here we go. Crew. We've beaten them 3 times before throughout this save, and the season is really starting to hot up. Preston are level on points, level on games, and very close to us on goal difference as well, so it's going to be an interesting battle between us and them. Derby County are level on points now. Still got 2 games over them though, thankfully. Plymouth, who only just came up with us surprisingly, in 4th. That's an interesting one. And Crew, who we play right now, are in 5th place. We've got Wimbledon coming up as well as Shrewsbury. So loads of teams that are vying for the playoffs already this season. As for team selection, I think we're going to bring Saltella back in for Bowden. He's the better player. I'm also going to bring Hulme in for Gale. One thing I have noticed as well, Williams plays really well in the advanced forward role, which is on the left side. Jebels doesn't, and to be honest, Louis Barry hasn't done that well either. I've had a look, and Jebels and Barry are both right-footed, whereas Williams is left-footed. I'm starting to wonder whether there's something in that. Maybe you need to be left-footed to be better on that left side within this system. Seems a bit counterintuitive to me, but there must be something in it. There must be. Anyway, let's see if Jebels can improve in this game. Williams' tactical familiarity on the left is still not very good, and we're coming up against another tough system where there's sitting a lot of players behind the ball. It being away from home, we may well be open to the counter-attack. Crew were predicted 17th this season, so that's maybe why they're overperforming, hitting teams on the counter. I guess we'll find out in just a second. As the first highlight comes up, Crew goalkeeper goes long. It's out wide to Clifford. Well closed down. Davies to Baskin. Ball over the top. Dealt with by Delorney, but Offord is on the ball. He's cutting inside. Passes to Cole. Cole out wide to Sterry. Somebody get a foot in. Come on, lads. Cole to Chaplin. They're able to do whatever they want here. This isn't looking great, is it? Out wide to Offord. Probably going to get the ball in, is he? Yep. And Sterry over the bar. Not a great start. Corner though for us. Hulme, who's just been brought in, and it's in. Great goal. Delorney was on the end of it. Jabels gets his 8th finish of the season. Proper poacher's goal there. Loshi with the long throw. Dealt with. Out. Hulme picks it up. The advanced playmaker. Wow. That's why we brought him back in. That's his first goal of the season. Not his fault, he's not been played. We've tried Gale instead of him, who is the better long-term prospect. But with goals like that, Callum Hulme just goes to show why he is in the media dream 11. Look at this. Cuts inside and picks out the top corner. We brought him in for his long shots. I'm glad that he's able to actually execute them as well. Wardle to Warburton. Warburton to Williams. Working the ball around very nicely here. Hulme, the advanced playmakers, drops really deep there, but there's loads of space to work into, and Lacour likewise. There's only 2 wingers, remember, for Crew, so there is space to exploit out wide. Loshi, the right back, is in quite narrow there. Warburton, can he get a cross in? What's he going to do? Or is he going to use Williams? No, crosses himself. Lacour arriving late, and that makes it 3. Stéphane Lacour has scored his 5th goal of the season. The French legend is doing it again, our Lionel Messi. Although Messi probably won't score many headers like Lacour does. But yeah, it's really, really great to see. Can he do it again if we get promoted this season in the Championship? That's my big pondering. I don't think he's got the technicals nor the mentals to do it. But you never know. We'll see. I've questioned him the last 2 seasons and he's certainly answered. Up to half time, 3-0 up. Really great performance from the lads. I'm still going to tell them to go out there and prove a point because I just want to make sure they don't get too complacent. So we've just made some changes there, guys. What we've done is we've brought Gut on the right wing. I know he's not suitable for the inverted winger role, but coming off the bench, he does tend to work quite well, drifting in, purely because I think the AI isn't good at setting instructions onto players when they come off the bench. That's why I use substitutions very regularly. We've also brought Bowden on in the false 9 role, and wow, that's a great goal from Stubbs. 3-1 now. There's not a lot you can do about that. There's a lot of players between us and the goal, but yeah, we're not going to be stopping those shots. The clock's ticked down. We've won the game 3-1. Great performance from the lads. We've kind of limited them, really. They've had 3 half chances, but no clear cut. That's our 8th win of the league campaign. Puts us 2 points clear of Preston. Now they must have dropped points. Couple more really tough games coming up for us. But I'm starting to feel like this is going to be another fantastic season. We should be going up, boys. I really hope we do. It'd take a few very difficult injuries to deal with, I think, to derail us. Although we have had 2 centre-backs out for 4 weeks as it is already. They've now come back, thankfully. Right, boys, we've reached the end of the episode. This is a new feature for the end now. We're going to do this every time. At least you can see through all of my first-team players just to get a gist of the type of player we have. Thank you so much for watching. Much appreciate the support on this series has been really great so far. The tactical videos have done so well. I think we're pushing on up towards 20,000 views now on the nap tactic, and we're well over 1,000 already on Concerto. Those links for all the systems I use are down in the descriptions. Get yourselves onto footmanagerstory.com if you want more tips, more guides. There's loads of stuff on there for you guys to check out. And of course, get in the comments. Let me know what you think to the episode. Do you want to see more of certain stuff? Longer episodes, shorter episodes? And if you haven't done so already, please do subscribe. Click that bell button to get notified of when new episodes go live. And hit the like button if you enjoyed this one. That'd be much appreciated as well. Right, boys, I'm going to sign off at that. Thanks so much for watching. See you later.